Hello everybody, this is T from Kate's Crafty Closet, and today we're going to make this little clean and simple thanks card, but actually we're going to flip the script on my prototype here. It's like I made it, I looked at it, and I was like, how can I improve on this? And I think I come up with a solution to improve on it. So it's like, there's nothing wrong with making one, and then looking at it, sitting back and say, well, how can I improve this? So I'm kind of showing you all how my thought process works when I make a card. So like, I could have just tossed this or use it for something else, and then went with the idea that I had in my head that would technically work more in the end of it. But I just kind of want to show you that it's okay to make a card and want to improve it. And just go ahead and improve it. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's aspects of it that I knew I could improve. So I'm going to kind of show you along the way what things that I did that I'm going to do now, that and my reasonings behind it. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to pull out our scoreboard, and I got a piece of this is a 120-pound accent opaque cardstock that you get off of Amazon. I do the best that I can to my ability to link everything that I use in the description box below, and what I exactly use. There's alternatives to it, I most certainly will. So this, I'm going to change this card from, this is landscape, regular A2 size standard card, which means 4 1/4, 5 1/2. I'm going to turn it into a portrait top folding card. So that's one thing I'm going to change on it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So that means that we're going to score at 5 1/2. Like, just go slow, don't rush, because these bone folders can jump that line. I usually do 3 or 4 times depending on the thickness of your cardstock. Flip it over, turn it over, and burnish it. If you don't like, sometimes these bone folders will give you a little shine to it in that crease. So I highly recommend a Teflon bone folder. I have not been able to find my Teflon bone folder since I moved last year. So maybe one day it'll pop up in my adventures in the craft room. So anyway, so now that we got that done, we're kind of done with that. So we're going to put that to the side for a minute, and we're going to bring in, this is just some blue. This is not a very heavyweight cardstock. Probably a 65-pound cardstock, which is okay because it's just a layering piece, not a base piece, and that base piece is pretty thick, so it'll support it. So so I'm going to show you where I'm going to change again too. These I used, you can just use a paint swipe. There's so many of those out there in the market, and you may have one, maybe 2 in your stash already, but the one I used was just from this old Stampin' Up set, and this is another one that I've had in my stash as well too. So either of those would work, because essentially they're pretty much almost the same. So that's what I went ahead and did originally, but we're not going to use that paint stroke. We're going to use something else. But okay, another thing, I did die cut that blue out of this mod rectangle die as well. So we don't need that. We'll put that to the side, and we're going to use, you've seen in the previous video, I used this stamp from Hero Arts. This is called, I think, a shaded Age Shadow stamp, an aged shadow. Okay, so we're going to use that. And I did use Catherine Pooler inks, and I think I'm still going to keep the color combination because I kind of like it, the gradient effect on that, the ombre effect. So these are the colors that I used: the Fiesta Blue, Something Borrowed, and Stone Blue. So the first one on top, I went dark to light. So Something Borrowed, Fiesta, then Stone. So that's how we're going to do it on this one. So we're just going to kind of move this to the side for a moment. I'm just trying to decide which way I want my curved thing. I think I want the curve down in that corner, so I'm going to do it like that. So anyway, we're going to grab our Something Borrowed and just ink that up. Okay. I'm not worried about being perfect. It's all good. Fiesta Blue is the next blue. Try not to go too much in there, but these pads are really good at not cross-contaminating. You can just wipe the top off of those because they're foam. And lastly, we're going to go with that light color, that stone blue, okay? Normally, I would put my paper on top of a wood mount stamp, but we're going to actually try it the opposite way. So I want to make sure the lightest color is on the bottom. And we're just going to do our best to eyeball it, like use my Tim Holtz mat here to say, okay, it's straight. And I'm going to go with, let's go with that. It's not perfect. I'm okay with that. Give this a moment to transfer and soak up into the paper before you pull it up. So don't go really quick and pull it up because you won't get a good impression. And this, because it's not on a stamping tool, we can't correct and fix that. And I'm okay with that. I like that gradient and I like the organic look of it all. Okay. And the next thing we went and did is from here, we use a tree stamp, and it was also from a Stampin' Up! Stamp set, this one right here. You can use any kind of tree. I'm sure you probably have 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 trees in your stash, so just pull out one that you kind of like this. I like these because they're pretty detailed, but with this one, the sentiment took over that tree. So the sentiment now became the focal point, and that's not what I wanted. So I want to change it and use this taller tree and make it more of the focal point, if that makes any sense. So we have our little tree right there, if that makes any sense. Because so this is the kind of things that, like, after I made it, like, I knew the concept that I wanted, but my execution was not the greatest. And then, you know, that's all good. So we're going to come in with a stamping tool, and because this is the cling rubber, we're going to remove the cushion because we don't need that. And we're going to put this on here. You want to make sure that that tree is grounded. So I'm kind of putting as close as I can to the bottom of that so it doesn't look like it's floating in air. So we're going to pick it up. Boom. We're going to come in with our VersaFine Black Onyx. I was trying to find my my go-to one, which is my Claire Nocturne, but this is good too. I struggle with that lid because I'm always getting my fingers super inky with those. And because this is on a stamping tool, we can if we don't get a good impression, we can re-ink and redo. Okay, and see the big difference. Let's bring that back in. Like, you see the difference, how that tree is now the focal point as opposed to that one. And because it's kind of going to the top, where here I had more space than I anticipated, but I also want it grounded. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with this card, essentially, but the aesthetic of it, it wasn't working for me. So we got that. And the sentiment was a little bit too much on that last one. So here I have this ultra new one. This is a block one. So the blue, it's going to be a blue sentiment because the outside part, like the negative part, is going to show from the cardstock underneath, and it's going to stamp in the ink color that you use. So we're going to do that. And this one is a stamp set called Best Sentiments from Ultra. I haven't decided which one I use. Sending love and hugs. You are the best. Thank you and thankful for you. So I'm going to go with Sending Love and Hugs just because it's more of a longer sentiment, I believe. I think most of them are probably the same size, and it's like, how do I open this? Right? How do I open it? There we go. Yeah, I know I used this before. So let's go ahead and pull that out and hopefully not struggle too much with this. Right, it needs to come out. I'm just going to rip it because we can. So we're going to grab that Sending Love and Hug sentiment. I guess I didn't use this set. I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. So we're going to do it like that. We want to make sure that the writing is the right way. And if you have to, which probably I should do, is I probably should have stamped it to make sure I did it right. But we're going to wing it and think that and hope that we did the best. And because that's not a cling rubber, that is a clear stamp, we're going to go ahead and put that through here. And actually, I'm thinking about, do I like this thinking of you one? Thinking I like this thinking of you sentiment. I think that's what I like. So I changed my mind. Just because it's going to be the black and the blue is going to kind of blend. So I'm just going to go with the with that one, that thinking of you. That is from an Ink on 3 stamp set. If it's still available, I'll link that as well. So go back in with our VersaFine black onyx. I'm going to ink that sentiment up, and be careful. These are the smallest sentiment. Be light and gentle and tap tap onto your sentiment. Like it's gonna, and don't push down too hard. And we're gonna pull it up and like, okay, I need a little bit right there on that U. And that's good. Thinking of you, right? Let's look at that. Okay, that'll work. That'll work, because now the sentiment is not the focal point anymore, right? Then that's what we wanted to go for. So while we're sitting here, I'm going to pull out something that I haven't used in quite some time because I forgot where it was. It's some Ink on 3 liquid pixie dust. This is like amazing. Always make sure you shake it up, because that all the little sparkly stuff is sitting at the bottom, and you want to get that suspended throughout your when you're doing that. And basically I'm going to take it and just, it's an eyedropper on my mat right here to the side on the white part. I'm just going to drop a few drops out of that. A little bit goes a long way, I promise you. And you can dilute it with water if you want, but I'm just going to go full force, just using a paintbrush out of my stash, and I'm just going to kind of sparkle up that background. Like, don't try not to get it too wet, because these inks are water reactive. You don't want to lose too much of that aged organic look. And don't be afraid to go on top of the tree there. It's okay. And if you go off the sides, that's fine too. Just kind of want to give it a little bit of shimmer and sparkle. Okay, and if you want to flick some, you can on the outsides of the what do you call that? The outside of the doohickey, the card, the panel, right? You can squirt. So I got some splatter there. I'm just, because I have extra right here and I don't want to waste, and I want to use it up. So I'm perfectly fine with the results of that. Okay, put that to the side. And next we're going to come in with some gems. But before I do the gem part, I'm pretty sure it's almost dry. You want to be careful. Don't put, like I said, don't put too much wet medium on here, because this cardstock is not really going to support it. All right, we're going to come in and grab our foam square as well before I put on the gems on the front of it. The gems are going to just pull the eye, right? And like I said, these are my favorites, some foam squares, and I'm always super generous with them, because going through the mail, it'll assure that it won't flatten out or anything of that nature. And so essentially I put 12, so three of these go on here. You can use less if you want. Totally 100% your call. Should have spaced those out a little bit more, because now they're a tight fit up here, but that's okay. Okay, got that. Turn it over. I'm going to pull out these little gems. I got a huge box of these from a long time ago, and I'm just going to grab the clear ones, and I'm going to grab the smallest ones. So I just need 3. Oops, we got 4. Let's leave the one that's fell on the right side, because it makes life a little bit more easier for us. Okay, and we're going to decide where we're going to put it. Like, I'm going to put them with inside where the tree is, just because I kind of want I want this area to be, I think I'm okay with it being there. And so we'll come in with some art glitter glue and hope that it's not clogged. Okay, and it's not. Clean off that top because it has some, what I call them, little boogers. I don't need a lot because these gems are super tiny, so just a little bit, and that's way too much. So I'm going to grab a little bit. It's going to dry clear, so I'm not going to stress that out. Okay, so I'm just going to put the little bit that I have on my finger. All right, and then same thing with that one. Just drop a little bit, and like I said, it'll dry clear, so don't stress, right? There we go. All right, so we'll close that up. Bring in that card base again. Like, I'm not going to peel off the backings and glue this down, but this, see the big difference in the original one that I did as opposed to this one in the video. So like it says, I'm still going to use this one, but as you can tell, there is a huge difference. And now that the tree is a focal point, you know, and that's what you wanted. That's what I wanted. It's like this one, the sentiment is a focal point, and the tree gets lost in that. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. Make sure you check out the store at katescraftycloset.com for all your crafty shopping needs. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Our contact information will be down below. You can pretty much reach me on pretty much all the social media platforms as well. So thank you all for joining me, and have a crafty day, y'all.